Recently, I've painted a bunch of big, epic landscape scenes, so today I wanted to paint this rather zoomed in little stream lake kind of painting, and I thought it would be a little bit easier than it was, to be honest. It was actually quite difficult. So, my main process is the same regardless of what I'm painting. So, here I am blocking in the big shapes and trying to get a feel for where everything goes. I'm not overly careful. I just want a rough idea of where everything goes. I have a reference on the other screen, but I'm not following it to any great accuracy. I don't see the point really. I'm not trying to copy the painting. I'm just trying to, as a photograph, but I'm not trying to copy it. I'm just trying to give an idea of what I need. And, this is very difficult without the reference painting, but basically it just gives me information of where things go and how, bright they are and things like that. So I'm using the color fill tool in Procreate. If you select the selection tool and you hit freehand and the color fill, a little bucket, and you can make these big, nice, sharp shapes easily and quickly. And I like doing that because it makes you make a decision, a definite decision, and that can be really beneficial. When I started learning to paint in acrylics, you really have to pick a stroke and decide. And because obviously once you paint in paint, it's very difficult to undo. And not like it's completely impossible. You wait for it to dry and you can try again, but that is so slow, you kind of have to be definite. And I try and take that into digital painting. And one thing I notice when I'm more definite about my strokes and where I want the colors to go, things just go better for me. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go better for everybody, but I think it's a good place to be when you know where your stroke is going to go, etc. That's not to say I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't. Lots of this is experimentation, and lots of times I'll paint over what I've done. But it's a nice process that doesn't leave lots of messing around. Really, it kind of gets to the point. And if your strokes doesn't work or they don't work, then you just make another one over the top or erase or undo. I try not to undo very much again because I learned with acrylics and you can't undo obviously. So I'm so used to not really undoing. I'd rather paint over it. I'm not saying you have to do that, but I think when you undo a lot, you start to question yourself too much and rely on the undo button. Now, don't get me wrong, the undo button's great and I use it when I need it, but I generally try to avoid using it and to paint over my mistakes. I think if you do that, you learn solutions to things you've done rather than trying again and again and again. Now, I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way here, but do whatever feels good for you and doesn't take you out of the painting process. So lots of this painting is really about layers, lots and lots and lots of layers. Now, when I say layers, I don't mean actual layers in Procreate or whatever app you're using. You need some, of course, because you'll need to make sure you don't paint over the wrong layer, etc. But I try to keep them to a minimum. The reason is mainly just a practical reason is I want to know which layer I'm painting on. I don't want to waste time accidentally painting on the wrong layer. So quite often, you probably won't see it because it's too fast here, but when I pick my layers, quite often I'm on the wrong one and I just leave it. It doesn't really make a huge difference. I see people can get very passionate about their layers and making sure everything's on the same one and all that kind of stuff, but really the layers are there to help you and not really, it's not really going to help you just to have everything on a perfect layer if it slows you down and gets in your way. So don't worry about the layers, and if you accidentally paint on the wrong one, it doesn't matter, just leave it. And ultimately a painting is one layer, regardless if you got 20 or 200 or one. It is just one layer anyway. So all they are there to do is help you, and don't worry if you paint on the wrong layer. I don't. I just paint over it, and actually they're usually quite a mess for me. So don't worry about the layers. Just get in there, get on with it, and there's no such thing as the wrong layer. That's for sure. There's just on a different layer. And at times I paint them all on one, so that's good too. So there's nothing technically, crazy about this painting. It's layers on top of layers on top of layers. One thing I would say to do when you paint something that's quite close is you probably need more layers than when it's zoomed out. When it's zoomed out, you don't need so much detail. But because everything's within 20, 30 feet, you need a little bit more detail than usual. So I've gone more detail, and if you've seen my other paintings, I'll probably leave quite a lot of detail out, but that's because it's 100 feet away, 200 feet away, plus whatever. You don't really need that kind of detail. But when we're close, we need quite a lot of detail. So 20 feet away, this little stream lake thing, you need lots of detail. And you could probably do more. So you can go nuts on detail if that's your thing. But there we go. If you like that, give me a thumbs up and a sub, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.